Hello there. How's it going? Good evening. Um, this was a little unexpected, but I'll get into that in a minute. In the meantime, hello, Gary. Practicing with Cyril while wait to get your Seestar. That's great. Oh, that's awesome. Hi, Jack G. Good evening. Hello, Turf. Good evening. Evening, Dark Shades. Hi, Kevin. Oh, hey, Seiko. Thanks for popping in. I'll see you a little later. Yeah, it was originally when I looked at it, I figured when I looked at the weather, it looked like it would be kind of more fairly cloudy this evening. Maybe a little bit of clear, but it's at the moment it's completely clear. So we'll see how long that lasts. But in the meantime, might as well take advantage of it. Plus, the if I recall correctly, the moon isn't even quite up here yet, or it's barely just rising. Let's see. You can see the all sky camera. Of course, you can see how the house behind me is lit up from who knows what. But yeah, let's see. Yeah, the moon just rose a little bit ago, but it's going to be behind buildings for the next 2 hours or so. It'll be washing out the sky, but at least it's not directly shining right into the telescope. I do have the one set up equatorial with the dew shield on it, so hopefully that'll help. The first thing, since it is clear, I've talked to a couple people recently about the new mosaic mode, well, relatively new mosaic mode in the Seestar, and how they've been using that to shoot all the time to avoid field rotation. And I thought I'd do a little experiment tonight. To be fair, it's going to be better conditions later in the week. So if we don't get through it today, we'll do it we'll do it later in the week. Now this is, I might have to go live earlier for this particular test. I could probably go live as early as like 6:30, like 45 minutes earlier than I did. Anyway, we're gonna try both telescopes pointing at the Pac-Man nebula, and I'll show you in a moment. Let's see. I'm gonna switch. Oh, I can't get a clear night in Minnesota. That stinks. So what I'm going to do here real quick is I'm going to actually switch to my other computer, so we can, well, first let me go here, guest mode, and I'm going to release control. And then I'm going to switch over to, which one is it? Is it this one? Yeah. I'm just a disembodied voice right now, but bear with me while I bring up the Seestar app. All right. Okay. Here we go. All right, I'm starting up the app. And let's see. All right. And start capture. Great. Okay, I've got it up and running, and I'm gonna get control. And then we're gonna go to the Pac-Man nebula on here first. We'll give this one a head start. Right. So it didn't. Sometimes clicks don't register. All right. All right, Pac-Man. Okay, go to Pac-Man, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to, I'll show you when I switch back to the other computer view. I am going to try, oops. I'm going to try to match the equatorial framing, which actually is very similar to the, at this point it's very similar. So what I'm just going to do is go framing, and I'm just going to rotate it just a little bit, which is, yeah, you'll see the equatorial framing is about that. And so if I pick that, how long does it say? It'll take 4/10 of an hour. So let's go ahead and go to, and we'll start imaging this. And I'm going to switch back to the other computer. All right, here we go. All right, so I'm back. So you can see this is what the alt-azimuth framing is, and the equatorial at this point is just slightly shifted. So what we're going to do is now send the other, well, as soon as this starts, as soon as that one starts, I'm going to release control. Okay, it's starting to image, and actually let me get both telescopes up. So this is, and then I'll move this one over to the equatorial one. Yeah, no guest mode in this firmware, that's fine. Image. I don't know why I keep going PG or PC. I don't know what's going on. All right, I'm going to leave. I'm not going to increase the gain like I usually do since the typical. It's typical. You're about to see why I'm saying typical. Okay, claim control. And now let's go look at live view. You'll see why I said typical. Like I had just started, it got like the first, one of the first few frames, and satellite went right through it. Anyway, so I'm gonna do this try doing 30 minutes. I don't know how long we'll be able to do this, but we'll try 30 minutes to begin with. Now this one has already had a 4-frame head start, so we'll see. So this is going to be the two things I want to do with this is I want to run both of them for about the same amount of time. There are some other targets if this ends up kind of getting blocked by a building, I was also going to try the Pleiades, do the same experiment with the Pleiades. So not only there's a few things I want to look for that I kind of know probably how it's going to land, but I want to check not only neither one should have field rotation artifacts. I want to kind of look at noise, gradients, and I'm going to try the AI noise reduction too on the Seestar image. So we'll see how all that goes. All right, so this is stacking, so let's go look at this. Oops, I don't know why I always do this. So again, the one on the left is a Seestar in equatorial mode. The one on the right is a Seestar in AltAz mode running the firmware. And I still managed to flip it. That's okay. It's flipped, but oh well. Yeah, so we'll let that go for a while, and we'll see how this how it ends up comparing after a bit. Now, this test won't be able to go on too long because of the buildings. You can see some of it in the all-sky camera. So, oh, hello cellulated. How's it going? Thanks for joining. It's just typical. Had a satellite photo bomb. Oh, Russian keyboard. Yeah, that'll do it. A lot of international keyboards, that'll do it to a person. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, an experiment, equatorial alt-azimuth. Alt-azimuth mosaic versus equatorial. So we'll see how this goes. Hello, Callus. How's it going? Thanks for joining. And this is the the first obligatory announcement. If you haven't liked the video, please like the video. It does help the channel a lot. It brings helps bring more people to the channel, and helps let YouTube, share it with others. But yeah, so I'm going to do this experiment with some other objects. Maybe not all of them tonight. Like I say, later in the week, the conditions will be much better and the moon will be kind of more out of the way. It looks like tentatively Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday might be clear here. And if that's the case, I might do 2 or even 3 live streams. We'll see how I feel. What ended up just before the live stream, I either popped something in my hip or my lower back. So yeah, no, thanks, appreciate it. Oh, hello, Stephen Fox. How's it going? Thanks for joining. Yeah, yeah, so I was saying, I don't know if you had caught that, Stephen Fox, but I'm doing a test between equatorial mode and the mosaic mode on an alt-azimuth mount, just on the same target, started around the same time, just to see differences in kind of the data, how it looks just out of the scope, gradients, any gradients, noise, variety of things. So it's kind of an experiment, somewhat inspired by conversations I've had with different people, including Stephen Fox. So that was kind of the inspiration for this. And the reason I'm doing this first is because I'm not sure how long I'll have clear skies here tonight. And plus, this object is going to rotate behind a building before too long. So this one on the left I set to capture for half an hour, so might not even get to half an hour before they start getting tracking into a building. So far, it's hard to tell. I mean, this does look noisier somewhat. I mean, there's like a bunch of noise here. But on the other hand, sometimes that's a roll of the dice if the dark frame didn't, if there's a problem with like dark frame generation. So we'll see the final result. But I'm already seeing kind of the beginning of the green to red gradient in this one. And one thing I had noticed with some of the other of these mosaics, they must be doing some kind of calibration on the frames as it's stacking them, because they generally have come out pretty clean when from a gradient point of view, which makes sense because of the way it built it up. If they don't do that, it would be just a big mess. One is, you ask me these questions and then I have to, yes, one is A and two is B. I try to do that, but sometimes when I'm doing development, I end up mixing things up, so, or reconfiguring things, and so it was no telling. But yeah, luck at the draw, the fact that it was literally one of the first 2 or 3 frames satellite went through it. Typical. But yeah, I want to do this on a few different targets. Definitely want to do the Pleiades. Maybe later in the week when the conditions are good, I want to do it on a very bright target. Maybe ideally like the Orion Nebula, because that's such a bright target. It would be interesting to see the difference in my skies between 2 longish exposures. One in, well, equatorial might be a problem, but I'll figure it out. We'll do some fairly bright target. Just to test this out. But so far the native mosaic isn't doing too bad. It's 27 frames. This one actually has more frames. Of course, yeah, more all in the same location. Now, to be fair, this one, I don't know what the state of the alignment is on this one. This one might be really out of whack. Two degrees off. Eesh. That's not good. I mean, so that's probably why it's dropping frames. That said, it's doing a reasonable job. I mean, it's in an area where there's probably a lot of field rotation right now. Yeah. So that's like over the span of an hour, it rotates that much. So, well, another hour from now, it won't even be visible. Yeah. And this boundary is not necessarily where it'll actually start getting blocked. So definitely not much longer. And even then, I went ahead and set the one on the left, the A scope, to a fixed finite time, so it'll end up stopping in 21 minutes whether or not it's blocked. And then I'll stop the other one. Now, another thing to be aware of, it is fairly warm here right now. I mean, warmer than it had been some of my previous nights. It is 22 Celsius, 71 degrees Fahrenheit. So yeah, probably adding to some noise. But yeah, I want to do some more of these kind of experiments, just to see how it compares. Now, one very positive thing about the kind of the equatorial mode is it's a lot more reproducible as far as positioning goes, whereas with this you have to go into the app and kind of frame it up, which is fine, except if you're trying to do things over multiple nights, that could start being problematic. And by the way, before I go too much further, if you saw the description, I said it's a smorgasbord. There are bunch of things I wanted to talk about this evening, astronomically related, but we'll get to it. I just wanted to get this going first, so we could because of buildings. All right. Let's see. Alrighty. But yeah, it should be, I'm looking forward to the stretch of weather, good weather later in the week. It's, let's see. Nope. Wrong one. Astrospheric. See, this is what I saw, and I'm like, I don't think I'll be able to observe tonight, but so far it's okay. That said, the transparency is below average, but Thursday looks like it's going to be good. Above average, it's claiming. Thursday, Friday, this wasn't there earlier, so who knows what Friday night's going to be like, but Saturday and Sunday night look good, so might be able to get some good observing done later in the week. Fingers crossed. Yeah. Oh, and earlier, just before the stream, or before the stream started, Gary Seven Sailing mentioned, and Jack G mentioned processing and kind of working on processing. I have this one video that has gotten a pretty decent number of views, but it was a very manual processing. It kind of describing how to do manual processing, but it doesn't go into some other tools that have since come out, and I need to create an updated video with kind of more of the happy path. Actually maybe next week with the holidays and all, next week I'll have more time on my hands, which reminds me, yeah, next week is Christmas. Is that right? That's right. That's disturbing. Here in Texas, when it's almost up to 80 some days, sometimes it doesn't quite feel like Christmas. But anyway, so I'm not going anywhere for Christmas, so I may live stream, weather permitting, around Christmas, and if not, I'll be on the Discord server. Segue. And maybe I'll work on some of the videos that I keep periodically mentioning that I haven't gotten to. Let's see. Yeah. There's a few things I wanted to go over. What did I put on my list here? That class action lawsuit. That was kind of interesting. I saw at least one astronomy YouTuber created a video about that. I haven't actually watched it yet. I just was reading about the lawsuit. I mean, not just reading about it. I've only read about it. I haven't seen any videos about it, but thought that might be an interesting thing to talk about. Also, the remote Seestar stuff that I keep talking about. I have been going through a variety of approaches. Initially, I did it where it only was supported in the browser. It was Seestar Alp has several pieces, and I mean, it's all in one kind of script. It's run from a single script, but there's actually like 3 different major pieces. Well, is it 3? 3-ish. So there's what I call Alp, which is the original API that communicates with the original interface that communicates with the Seestar, and not interface, the API, and no web interface, but an API that you can manipulate a Seestar remotely. You can control it. Anyway, the other one was the front end or the web interface that you see here is served up from another component. And the third piece is the imaging system that you're actually also watching here. Oh, yeah. See, look here up in the upper right. This coloring here, it's starting to track into the building. So let's kind of look at this right now, kind of take in what we're seeing here. I'd say if this, so this is 53 frames, this is 85 frames on the equatorial. If this was a blind test, I mean, like this part is brighter, but it's noisier. And on the whole, I think my initial gut reaction would be like, I kind of like this one. It doesn't have any gradients. So yeah, I think I need to run this on a target that isn't going to be messed up by tracking into a building. So that's okay. I'm going to stop this. Only 17 minutes. I think to do the Pac-Man nebula with this test, I from my backyard, I'd have to start doing it much earlier. Yeah, I agree. The brightness is kind of what you'd expect from the difference in frames. That's true. That's true. But on the whole, I'd say this image was pretty clean. But I'm gonna go ahead and stop this one as well. And we'll have to do another test with another target, but I'm not sure what target I'd do right now, unless I do the Pleiades. That's unfortunate. Snow and rain. That's too bad. Yeah, so let me see. Do I want to try to do another experiment here, or just get onto some other imaging? I think I might just get onto some other imaging, because maybe if I do the Pleiades a little later, once the moon's up a little higher and kind of washing out the sky, it might be more of a test on the kind of the gradients and stuff to see. Yeah, I think I'll do the Pleiades when the moon's a little bit oh, hey, imaging. Yes, hello and hello. So yeah, let's find this. Let's figure out. No, I'm actually running it on my laptop, but funny you mentioned that. I was wanting to do some, I'll get to that in a minute, but basically I had started doing some work on the remote imaging, the remote telescope imaging. And before I get into that, while I'm looking up another target, don't forget to like the video. Let me look at my list and see what I had on my list. Yeah, I'll do M45 after a bit. Once it's just to try to more of a stress test on the mosaic mode. Now it is almost 8 o'clock. Yeah, more or less. I mean, the stream itself isn't running on the Mac, but yeah, Stellarium, the Seestar Alp is running on it. The Seestar app is actually running on the computer that's actually doing some of the stream stuff. It's overcomplicated. I got my new desk, but I haven't put it here yet. I had started disassembling my other desk a few days ago, and I need to finish it. Maybe, hopefully by next time I stream, maybe on Thursday, I'll have it rebuilt. Yeah, so I actually, sometimes I use OBS, but I do it on I try not to do it on this computer, because since I might be doing photo processing here, I'm always concerned that that like it'll drag down the stream. And it's actually proven helpful a few times where I ended up having to switch networks, or I was running out of memory and things started like crashing. Like if I was streaming from the computer would have ended. I mean, the stream would have ended if I had been streaming from this computer. Sometimes I'm using OBS. Sometimes I'm using what do you call it? An ATEM. It's Black Magic hardware video switcher that I got at some point, and I figured it had what do you call it? It had the ability to stream to YouTube from it, and so I'm like, again, for the same reason that if this laptop starts acting up during the stream will keep going. I think I've even rebooted my laptop during the stream. I might have, like when it just totally, or crashed during a stream. Speaking of crashing, I should do something like that. I should do I could do I never plug the membership because I don't. I mean, I appreciate a lot any support, super chats, membership or whatever, but I haven't been able to dedicate enough time to really do kind of perks or whatever. I know some people do like BTS, behind the scenes stuff, but I think at once or twice I did something like that. And it wasn't like completely for members only. I also would, I'd make it an unlisted video and then like share the link in Discord just because it was just a lot more casual and chaotic, and I wasn't even talking a lot of the time. What are we? Okay, sorry. So I have a list. Actually the flaming star is in a good position right now, but I have a list. I have another list. Let me look at my other list. Forgot I have another list. Hold on. Let's see. What is this? Some open clusters possibly that I haven't imaged before. I think is going to be M50. I think some of that might be January. Let me look up some of this. NGC 2165. Oh, and then there's another thing. Maybe not today, but there are these observing challenges from different groups that maybe I'll do that next time. Maybe I'll do it today. We'll have to see. Okay, so NGC. Oh no, it's not NGC. Oops, it's an IC. I hate that when I do that. Okay, not visible yet. 2204 isn't visible yet. This might be either later this evening or later this week thing. Let me look at this. Just kind of curious. 2207. Okay. Yeah, that's not going to be rising for a bit. M41. I think same thing. That might be a little bit later. Oh, yeah, it hasn't even risen yet. Okay. Depending on how long the stream goes, it's still relatively early. Yeah, okay. So I'll look over those. It might be something for another day. But in the meantime, we have flaming star is visible. Or I mean, yeah, flaming star nebula is visible. Now, actually, one thing I could do over here. Oh, come on. Sometimes this gets kind of sluggish. I don't know. I like the sculptor galaxy, but I feel like I don't have enough time with that. Yeah. Actually, let me just check something. Okay. I was thinking, oh, I could image Triangulum, but Triangulum is almost straight overhead, so I don't think I'm going to do that. Actually, I say that. Let me get the equatorial pointing at Triangulum. Because what I've wanted to do is I've wanted to image Triangulum without the light pollution filter on. Or, no, with the light pollution filter on. Not even sure if I'll be able to. So let's see. I'm going to go M33, start that. Because I've got a lot of time on it. How much more time will I have on this? Is that the right time? I'll do 45. I'll do 45 minutes. I'll crank up the gain, and I'm going to use the light pollution filter. And this is equatorial. Okay. The idea being that I want to see there are some nebula in or some H alpha regions in M33, so it's kind of an experiment. And I've been meaning to do it with the equatorial because I like the framing of M33. If you look at it, see an equatorial, it's a nice framing, but AltAz, it's kind of, it's kind of a hit or miss. Like, it could be good, but like right now it would be kind of cutting off the sides, but equatorial, it just coincidentally is nicely aligned. So we will try that. And I should just switch this to live view. Yeah. And so Patreon, YouTube membership, there's Buy Me a Coffee. They're just different ways of kind of supporting creators, as it were, or people running a channel or whatever. Patreon's kind of, I mean, YouTube membership is tied to YouTube. Patreon is for a variety of people. I mean, for people who are on YouTube, people who aren't on YouTube. Basically I set up accounts on both, and I set up the Patreon one first because you have to have a certain number of views and watch hours to be monetized on YouTube. So like when you start out, you can't offer membership or subscribers, and it used to be the threshold used to be much lower, and it's not like super high, but it's gotten higher over the years. Although I think it's been at the current level for a while. Anyway, they're just different ways. YouTube membership, I think it's like under the screen where like it has. I say that, but I haven't looked at it from a different account recently. Let me see. Helps if I know how to type my own account name. Yeah, it's if you watch the stream, yeah, it has like a join button down below, and that's how you join as a member on YouTube. And then there's like Buy Me a Coffee, which is like a one-time thing. That's a external site. And then Patreon's kind of a recurring thing as well. And yeah, but yeah, the Patreon link, it's in the I think it's in the channel description, but that's the Patreon. Like I say, I don't really sell it. Oh, it doesn't. No join. That's weird. That's really weird. It's like next to, when I looked at it from a different account, kind of my non-streaming account. it has, when I'm looking at some, I was watching something else. If I go look at the stream, it has like, at the risk of, let me see, maybe I can do it this way. I don't know how I can, yeah. Like, this is probably the easiest way to do it. See, this is like this, when I'm looking at it, well, I'm logged in as on a different account. It has subscribed and a join button. It's not always the most straightforward, not always the most obvious. Okay, actually, did I check the light pollution button? Darn it. Yes, I did. Okay, good. It actually does look different. I mean, and not in a bad way necessarily. Yeah. No, yes. So you make a good point. And I think I've seen different YouTube channels take different approaches to that. I've seen ones where they don't use any of the channel kind of features. Like, it's optional. You don't have to turn it on. But they don't use the YouTube channels because the features like super chats and membership, because YouTube takes a higher percentage cut than places like Patreon. Some of them compensate for that by like making the price higher on YouTube, so they get they net the same amount. And I've seen some channels where they steer people to Patreon and they don't have any of the YouTube stuff. I've seen people where they offer both, and I've seen ones where they've actually had both and now they're just moving to YouTube because of, I think, simplicity. It's all in one place. It also has some convenient features where if you want to have like a members only video, if you have Patreon and YouTube members, that can be a little like you can't use the built-in members only feature, because then the Patreon Patreon viewers couldn't watch it. Now, I've also seen people where they'll put the video on Patreon itself. Sometimes I've seen it where they just link to the YouTube video. Sometimes they'll put the video on Patreon and then it doesn't have ads on it. I think that's how they've done it. Yeah, special in depends on what way we're talking about here, but yeah, I mean, you have to be logged in. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. New incognito. Let's see. I'll try logging in. Wrong channel. Yeah. So if you're not signed in, like here, I'm not signed in to YouTube, and it doesn't give me the join button. What gets you the most gold? See, I don't even know. Actually, let me look. Not that it's big. I think I have the prices set to the same. So I think Patreon gives me, like, I net more from Patreon. But I don't have as I have actually thought about that, especially with the current price of Bitcoin. It's like, just give me a Bitcoin. That's all I ask for. Nothing major. Can you imagine if somebody like gave a person a whole Bitcoin? Yeah. Yeah, not quite. Not quite. No, it's more like it's more like I say, it's I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if I had set different prices for YouTube and and Patreon, but all things being equal, I get a much higher percentage from Patreon. So that's part of the reason why I've done it. I didn't. The convenience of YouTube membership is high, so I have both. And because like I say, I haven't really done anything in the way of perks, you know. Like I have my Discord server. Originally I thought I'd set it up like where only people who were members could join it, but I'm like, it's wide open, or anybody can join it. And I have thought, you know, as I get more subscribers, maybe I'll have like, you can have subscriber only areas on a Discord server, so I might do something like that. Yeah, for images or filters. Bye. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Gary. Yeah. And actually, so buy me a coffee. Also, like, so YouTube, you have membership, and you have like super chats and super thanks. And those are great, very convenient, can be done while you're watching the video or whenever. Whereas you have to go off platform for like Patreon and buy me a coffee. But buy me a coffee is helpful, is nice for like the equivalent of like a super thanks, where you can give it like a one-time donation. And Patreon is good for recurring stuff. So yeah. I roll toilet paper. I mean, if you give money anywhere, I could probably go buy toilet paper. Yeah. I mean, I've, like I say, I guess, and that might be something I need to think about over the Christmas holiday, because I'll have time off. This year I'll actually have time off. I don't always have time off every Christmas, because sometimes it ends up being surprisingly busy, or other people will be off, and so then somebody has to be working, and it's not bad. It can be like a quiet time, depending on where you work, obviously, but that's an interesting. This is with the light pollution filter on. Anyway, yeah, so maybe I need to think more about kind of my membership strategy, you know. Like I only have one tier for Patreon and YouTube membership, and I know it was mentioned on a previous stream about like you should have like a lower tier for people who just want to give a couple bucks, because every bit is appreciated and helpful. Yeah, salt mines shut down over the holidays. Yeah, although yeah, I've worked in kind of IT computer type things, and I always think about that when like it's a holiday. It's not as bad as it used to be, but it still happens. There'll be like a holiday or weekend or whatever, and you're trying to access like your bank, and you get an error from it. And I always think about the IT person who's probably getting called or paged right then to like fix the problem. You know, because that happened to me one year. I was at my parents' on Christmas Day, and I knew the call was going to come, but like right at noon, or no, early afternoon, I got called, had to go into work for some year-end stuff. And I think one year, I worked through literally twice, at least twice. I actually worked through New Year's Eve, like through midnight, heard the fireworks outside. Yeah, we got a problem. Pretty much. It was, but I always think about that. Just like I learned from an electrician years ago that you see a tall building with, you know, the safety lights on them. It's like somebody has to fix that when it breaks. I always think about that when I see like a tall tower or skyscraper or something. It's like somebody's got to fix that when it fails. Yeah. Anyway, I have an idle telescope. I need to fix that. It is after 8. I could do I want to do another? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it was funny. It was really funny. I was working at this place, and that during Y2K, that whole thing. And what was interesting is going into it, I was having to I didn't actually have much to do with it, or much work to do related to it, but I was giving advice to some people who were working on some things, trying to, help point them in the right direction. But I was a consultant, and they didn't want to pay us by the hour. So I didn't have to work over New Year's that year, but there were full-time employees that had to be in the office over New Year's. So that was kind of fun. I was sitting at home watching it on TV, and some of my coworkers were in the office. Wow. 200-foot tower. Jeez. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I remember that. I mean, I remember on the news here, the American news, I remember very clearly, I think one of the reporters was in New Zealand and went to an ATM and showed it worked, like the whole global finance network didn't collapse. So, I remember that very clearly because it was, that was, it was much earlier that they had already gone through that. And I remember there were some other things. Maybe it wasn't on Y2K, but I remember some various mishaps over the years where it was actually, I think that might have been leap year related, where there was a leap year bug in I don't know that it was Windows, but I don't think it was Windows. It was something, and it started causing crashes in computers in New Zealand, Australia, and then Japan. And then they were able to figure out the issue and fix it before all the servers in Europe started crashing. Yeah, again, wouldn't want to be the person having to work on that day, or if that was some software you were responsible for. Anyway, idle telescope. I need to fix this. I do have flaming star as a possibility. Yeah. For that reason, I've heard people call for just getting rid of it. Yeah, that I worked in the equity trading space, and we had 24-hour markets going pretty much. And I remember one of the leap seconds was on a weekend, and they had them scheduled for certain times, and it just happened that the one was on the weekend. But then there was one, they were going to do it right in the middle. Is that right? It was right in the middle of when Tokyo was open. And it was this is a nightmare. We're going to shift all the trading systems over by a second, in the middle of a trading day. That just doesn't seem like a good idea. Anyway, I don't even remember what ended up happening that time. Maybe I'm just trying to block it out of my mind. Yeah, it's just bad idea. I mean, I understand I understand why they did it, why they did the leap seconds, but it definitely with computerized systems were it was kind of a hassle. I did think it was interesting that I think like Google and some of the other ones, they wouldn't do the leap second. They would spread that second drift over the span of like hours. So they would have the clocks go slightly slow for a few hours and just kind of spread it out that way, because some software doesn't do well when there's a 61st second in a minute. Even though it's part of the spec, it should support it, but a lot of them don't deal with it well. A surprising amount of software doesn't handle even some of the leap year calculations. I mean, that was one of the things with Y2K. One of the ones people... No, actually, coincidentally, they were fine, because there's the divide by 4 rule, the divide by 100, and divide by 400. So 2000 was actually okay. But yeah. Yeah, spec schmack. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's always great. And then what was another one I remember hearing about? GPS rollover, where the internal clock on GPS rolls over periodically. And it's done it now a few times, but I remember there was some chaos at some point. Yeah, so the actually that's a good point. I haven't actually done the noise reduction. Maybe I should do that before I get carried away on this other one. Let's do that. Thank you for asking about that, because all I had done was the initial imaging. I didn't actually do the noise reduction. So let us switch over to this, our so let's we'll bring up. Oh, I need to relinquish control. Maybe that's something I'll work on over the holidays as well, is coming up with a better way of doing this with the app. Guest mode, release control. Alp does not do noise reduction currently. It does stretching, and I actually had looked into implementing porting over the Graxpert noise reduction, which will be great if, but currently no, it doesn't offer that. So let's bring up. I have to turn it back on. Okay, so because of the way this works, that was one of the. That's a stale image, so let me refresh that. Okay, this is my current live view of the app. And so I can go look at my album, go to the Seestar, and we wait. Okay, so this was what we just did today. So here is the image without the noise reduction. So let's see how this looks. Okay, I wasn't sure if I could zoom in, but not so much. Okay, so now it's denoising it. Yeah, I'll show in a sec. I'll show it from both sides. So yeah. Okay, so that smoothed it out pretty good, pretty well. I think, you know, the thing with the noise reduction is sometimes it's at, you know, it ends up smoother. I mean, it ends up smoother by design, but sometimes it feels a little over smooth, but I think it's just because I've zoomed in. Because when I'm zoomed out, I'm not, I don't think that's too bad. But I do need to do a longer experiment with this because I want more data. That's why I was thinking of doing like M45. Although that might be almost, yeah, I don't know. Maybe not that one. Yeah, I mean, like zoomed out, it looks okay, but in it looks a little too smooth. But yeah. But yeah, it's so like I say, and actually since we're in here, let's look at, okay, so that's the before. Oh, I guess it saved it out to here. So here's the before, which is pretty darn noisy. But then, like, it's okay, but when I zoom in, it looks a bit flat, I guess is what I'd consider it. Or like, you know, those zoom filters, where the person, yeah, where it looks a little too, okay, why can't I? All right. Oh. Huh? That's interesting. Okay. It, somehow I got rid of the kind of the navigation and I was having a hard time getting back into it. Yeah. Too many disks are empty. Okay. Huh. I'll have to... So, like, let me go in, look at the monkey head from the other day, because I don't think I ran the processing on this. So this was... Not sure how much data this was. So this I did the other day, on the 11th, last week. Not the other day, but... So let me try noise reduction on this. That would be cool. 6 hours of... No, that's cool. I mean, there's so much in Serial. Like, it's pretty neat, but there's a lot there. Okay, so, like I say, zoomed out, I like how this looks. Zoomed in looks... But again, maybe I just need more data. Maybe it was kind of dim to start with, you know? So that'll be interesting to test that out. Let me see if I can find one that has more data. Although I did clear a lot off this. Oh, okay. Did I end up doing M40? I think I did. I did do M42. Oops. I did do M42. Yeah, so... Now this is M42 with the noise reduction. I don't feel like that's overly smooth. Like there's still a lot of good detail in there. Whereas I feel like some of the others. So maybe it's just a matter of needing more data. Because this is what it looked like before the noise reduction, which isn't as noisy, at least, you know, in the nebula itself, but it's such a bright target. So like looking at the Running Man, so let's look at the noise reduced one. Yeah, it's not, I mean, personally, I feel like it's not as over smoothed. But yeah, let me switch back to the other. Oh, well, before I go, so to relinquish control on the Seestar app side, I go, so from the going into the settings, advanced, guest mode, and then release control. And now it's release control. So if I go, over here, go back over here. Now in Alp, neither has control. And so I just claim control. And likewise, to release control, I click release control, and then I can claim control on the in the same well, you don't even have to go in. Like if I go release control here, and then I go back to the app. Oops. If I go to the app, see, it's got that, like, even if you're on a different screen, it'll have this button of like claim control. But if now I'm claiming it back on the Alp side, and anyway, so yeah, that's how I do it. All right, and let's go back. We're back. All right. It's not. Yeah, I have very mixed feelings about that whole guest mode feature, but hello, Chris. Greetings. Welcome, or welcome back. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, this is interesting. This Triangulum is. Yeah. The reason I'm doing this is I want to kind of composite it. This version onto the normal imaging I do of it without the light pollution filter. Okay, let's look at the list. It's almost 8:30 local time, so we could go do Flaming Star. I feel like some of those other targets that I was thinking of are haven't risen yet. Yeah. So the Seestar, if you have the app, it can basically follow along. It can't modify anything. So if you have, like when I'm imaging on an Alp, the live view shows up on the in the app, so you can track. The idea being people can follow along. So, but if it's just you, it's kind of annoying. Your M13 pick. Did you put it in Disc? Oh yeah, in Discord. Where did you link to it? Oh wow. So a message from on the Discord server that there was a 7 point something earthquake in Vanuatu in the oh wow. It's over here. Strong earthquake. Vanuatu. Okay. Vanuatu. Vanuatu. Okay, sorry. Oh, Substack. Okay. Let me get something going on this right scope. And okay, close. Okay, thanks. I mean, that's probably the closest then that I've ever pronounced it. Because yeah. What do we have? We're doing a galaxy, so I always like mixing it up, so I need to look at that other list. But let's see. Pinwheel cluster, salt and pepper cluster. I've done the salt and pepper cluster recently. Yeah, M37. We've done that. Let's find something good. Broken heart cluster. There's one, this Charlie Brown Christmas tree cluster that I don't think it's visible in my backyard yet, but I want to image it just because that name, it intrigues me. I don't think have I imaged this before? Is this one of these really low surface brightness things? Yeah, that might be challenging. Yeah. Yeah. Actually, let me look where the Charlie Brown Christmas tree is. Charlie Brown's Christmas tree. Okay, it's gonna be, it's not visible in my backyard till like after 1. Oh, it's when like the Dolphin Nebula becomes visible, so it'll be a while. Not a tonight thing. I wasn't planning on staying up that late. Let's see, ideally, let's see where the moon is right now. Oh, see the moon, it's 20 degrees. Actually, let me, oh, okay. Vanuatu. Okay, Vanuatu. Cool. Cool. Thanks. And on a completely unrelated note, don't forget to like the video. It does help the channel a lot. I mean, especially during live streams. Like it's different like with a video where, you know, maybe over time people like the video, but with live streams, the liveness is sometimes nice. So I mean, the liveness I know is part of the, I mean, for me personally, as someone who watches live streams, watching it live is preferable, because there's been times where I'm like, oh, I would have loved to have responded to that or something. But anyway, maybe that's just me. But yeah, so by liking the video now, it helps the liveness aspect of it. If that makes any sense. I think I'm rambling because I'm like trying to figure out what I'm going to image. And I have this list, but the problem is all the things are currently blocked by these dang buildings. I don't want to keep doing this. I feel like with the moon kind of coming up, maybe a cluster of some sort. And actually I need to switch to AltAz mode, because that's the one we're driving. Maybe I'll do this here. Little scorpion. Actually, let me see if there's anything over here, because sometimes there's interesting things that briefly go through this little area. Okay, active galaxy. What is that? Little spindle galaxy. Wait, there's like a little bit of few galaxies over here, but these look kind of tiny, which is always the dilemma with the Seestar. I mean, it's good for the bigger ones, but then when they're a little on the small side, it kind of doesn't. Yeah, a bunch of galaxies over there, but I think a lot of them it would struggle to be recognizable as a galaxy. Wait. Let me resize this a little bit bigger. What was I thinking? Wonder how much longer it'll be before Triangulum starts kind of being out of sight. Is there something in here? Let me pull it. Gosh, hate that one. See, there's some stuff here that's like on the verge of being visible. I need to go look at that list. That list I have. Because I know a bunch of them aren't visible yet. Actually, yeah. I feel like maybe the northern... Maybe I'll do the northern Trifid, you know? I think I've gotten a little bit of time on that, but not nearly enough. So let me try that. And I don't even remember the last time I imaged it. So we'll do that. And I'll crank up the gain on it. Actually, maybe I'll crank it up a lot. How high is it? It's not too high. Actually, it's not high at all. Oh, yeah, no, it is. Yeah, let me get that going. And then, yeah. So one of the things, sorry. Just looking at this. That's cool. Let me see. Yeah, I was hoping by doing the light pollution filter, some of these H2 regions would be more pronounced, and I think that's one of them right there. And I think there's one there. I mean, there's a lot of them. Boy, that's a big image. Didn't mean to click on it, but wow. This was taken with the VLT telescope. It's pretty nice, as one would expect. Whoa, jeez, that's amazing. Cool. Let's see. All right. And live. Yeah, one thing I need to work on, make sure that I level alt-azimuth one a little bit better next time, because it's far out of alignment. But what was interesting, the equatorial one, it was just happenstance. This currently isn't exposed in the interface, the Webb interface, but I think it will be at some point. But when you're doing kind of the equatorial alignment, there's a way to tell how far off it is from where it thinks it should be, like how far off your alignment is. And the 59 degrees is expected because it's in equatorial mode, but azimuth I was off by 0.04, and that was just pure luck. 0.04 degrees, so that's like 2.4 arc minutes off, and it was just luck of the draw. So yeah, so it's tracking pretty well. Now I'm not sure if that's gradient coming in, probably. Oh, that's cool. So one thing, I was talking about the remote. I'd started talking about the remote scope stuff. I've gone through a few iterations of it, and I started explaining that like there's 3 pieces to Alp, the Webb interface, and there's like the old API, the imaging subsystem, which also has a Webb. It's kind of related to the imaging subsystem, but it has a Webb interface. It has its own web service because of the way it streams images to the web server. I mean, to the web browser. And then there's, yeah, so the imaging subsystem, the web interface's backend itself, and the old API. I mean, the API that does a lot of the work. Anyhow, so I started off doing remote in the front end, but there were some problems with that. So, okay, so that's done. The equatorial is done. Need to find a new target for that one then. So the web interface, so remote through the web interface was the first approach. The second approach, I was like, well, I'll just change Alp to be able to connect to remote telescopes, or to connect to remote Alps, so that an API talking to a remote API that then talks to a Seestar. And then I started looking at that, and I'm like, this is going to be really complicated. So I thought, well, I'll have the API talk to a remote Seestar, but it'll be through like this proxy thing I was going to write. But then talking to Seiko and Stephen, I was rethinking that. And so now I've kind of gone back to having the API talk to an API. Anyway, I actually coded up some of it. I don't think I'll actually get to it tonight. I thought maybe I would, but that was assuming it was going to be cloudy. So since it's clear, I'm going to try to take advantage of that. But next time I think I'll actually test it out. And the whole motivation, there's multiple motivations, but my personal motivation is 2 different things. One, it would let me 3 different things. It would let me image on cloudy, or it would let me do observing live streams when it was cloudy, because I could use some other telescope somewhere else. It would let us simultaneously look, like I was doing the experiment between mosaic mode and equatorial mode to see how the images compared. We could do a real-time comparison between like a Bortle 1 or 2 and my Bortle 9 skies, or it wouldn't even have to be 1 or 2, but anything like 5 or lower would be cool to do, like literally a side by side. So that would be one thing. Another thing, and then the third thing would be potentially I could, we could leverage a telescope elsewhere, like in the southern hemisphere and observe things that I've never been able to observe myself because and likewise it would be neat because then people in the southern hemisphere could control Seestars in the northern hemisphere. Anyway, maybe next time I'll actually have it up and running and testing out. Yeah, that would be great, especially some areas. And actually, you say that. Dang it. Okay. I'll have to see. I'm glad you mentioned New Mexico. Because there's 3. I just thought of 3 possibilities for New Mexico. Anyway. Yeah, nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition. Nobody. Our chief elements, or our chief weapons are fear and surprise amongst our weaponry. Anyway. Amongst our weaponry. Okay, so this is the Northern Trifid, which is, it's okay. Wow. Yikes. So that I didn't mention it, but that Vanuatu earthquake, the embassies there were massively damaged. U.S. embassy partially collapsed. That's not good. Okay, we're almost to 9. So at 9, actually, let's see, M35. I know I've done this before, but I'm just okay. But in equatorial mode, still not ideal. Okay, 1 or 2, yeah, exactly. It's yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where sometimes earthquakes are, I mean, it depends on the quake and how deep it is, and I'm no expert on that. I just yeah, of all the earthquakes that I remember 3 very mild earthquakes, one of which I felt, but they were not in the places you would expect them. One of them was in San Diego. Okay, that's expected. But the first earthquake I ever remember kind of experiencing, and I didn't feel it per se, but kind of did, and there was visible signs that it was an earthquake, was in Chicago of all places. And I don't remember if it wasn't, I don't think per se then the New Madrid fault system in southern Illinois. It was some fault in southern Illinois. And the other place I felt the earthquake was in New York. It was that one that hit kind of Virginia a few years back. And yeah, I actually felt that one because I was in New York, and I was in a building, and I felt it shaking. Yeah. Knitted a cover and you can't get it off. Yeah. And that like I say, I need to redo some of my serial videos, Seestar oriented ones, kind of to reflect some of my new, some of the workflow you know, kind of the newer workflows with, I mean, so a lot of the basics are still the same, but then, you know, some of the newer tools, newer free tools like Graxpert, which was there before, but they added noise reduction, which is pretty nice. Most of the time, it does a pretty good job. Sometimes it introduces some weird artifacts, at least in my images. Which, granted, I'm in a particularly bad bad skies, but yeah, let's figure out what I should. The monkey head is, unfortunately, technically it's up, but it's gonna go behind this building soon afterwards, so I'm not even gonna bother with that. What's around Jupiter? Okay, now. When will Nina control Seestar? That's a good question. Like, you can control this. You can. I mean, the Seestar actually has, kind of a different protocol built in that on a different port, if I recall correctly, like this old Mead protocol, I thought. But I don't know if anybody's actually ever done that. And I know some people were talking about with the Indie driver that's available. Like if you run Alp on a Raspberry Pi, there's an Indie driver. But my understanding is it's somewhat limited. But someone was talking about redoing it to make it more featureful, so maybe that might work. I'm not sure. It is something I have actually thought about. I haven't used Nina yet though, but that's another thing I need to do over the holidays. That computer that I keep talking about that I was going to redo with Windows. I even have Windows on a thumb drive. Okay, so how much more time does this have? Chris mentioned IC 342. Actually, might have some time. Let's do that since this would be a good target for the equatorial because of the rotation going on. So let's do that. Image IC342. Is that right? IC342. It's the hidden galaxy, so we'll see how well that works. I'm going to do 50 minutes, and I'm going to really crank up. Well, not really, but I'm going to crank up the gain. Oh, of all sky? Let me check. Let me kick this off. I'm not going to do light pollution filter. Okay, so of course I went to my all sky because that's what I typed last week. What do you know? Of course. Hey, release. Oh, here. Okay, they got rid of those scripts. Cool. Crop settings. Okay, I actually used the crop settings, so I might. That's fine. Bad threshold. Okay. Mean brightness. Okay. I don't use ZWO. The Webb UI now hides the settings. Possible action. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, can write it to a remote server. Oh, okay. So they have a CLI, or not a CLI, but like a command, terminal command where you can reconfigure it, which could be handy. Okay. They make it easy to mount the all sky directory on a PC or to, I guess, export it by Samba. Test upload. Only restarts when it needs to. That's good because it always seems to want to restart. Okay, I'm using the overlays, module overlay, so that's fine. Oh, you can now have more than one ZWO camera connected, and on the Pi 5, more than one Raspberry Pi camera connected. Now that's interesting. That is interesting because I do have a Pi 5, and I do have like some old, like really cheap Pi cameras. But they're wide angle. Actually, I need to make a note about that. I actually have one of the old ones without the IR filter on it. That could be interesting. Oh man, I always have to write down these things because I'm like, it gets me thinking about stuff. This guy with more than one camera, because I was going, the Pi 5 that I have, I ended up buying the 8 gig model for whatever reason, and I know the reason. It was because I was going to load it up with everything. I was going to run Alp on it, but I wanted to also run all sky software on it, and I have that other I have another HQ camera with a fisheye on it. But if I could also use the IR camera, that could be interesting. Although I don't know what it would buy me, but I could try. See what it does. Okay, try use unsupported. All ZWO. Some actually support for some new third-party RPI cameras. That's good. So if you have like a what do you call it? Like a Arju cam or whatever, one of those, so that's good because they have some interesting ones. Arju cam. They have like what was it? Wasn't it? Okay. Which one was it? But yeah, they have ones that are like 64 megapixel and stuff. Sometimes it's just easier to go right to actually what would be good is if they had one that had like one of the chips that has much better low light. That would be better. That would be good. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to finish this up and get back to the scope. Show camera. Nice. It looks like they added a lot. Thanks, Cosmic Ray, for calling that out, because that is new modules. AI fans. Controls a fan based on CPU temperature. It's good. Current voltage. Influx dB. Light levels. Light graph. Measures UV levels. Published to Redis. You know, that there was someone in, I'm not going to name the name, but unless they speak out, but they had, on the Discord server, they had added a, is it ADS receiver, so they could overlay plane information on the all sky camera, so you could tell what plane like ruined your photo. Because why not? Okay, I'll have to take a look at that more. Thanks for mentioning that. Yeah, so let's go look at this, because Chris said IC342, and I hadn't switched to that yet. And it hadn't even started imaging for whatever reason. Let me look at that. See, this happens where it claims it's running, but then it didn't actually start recording. And I haven't had a chance to look at it, and I haven't noticed if anybody else has looked at that yet. So let's look at that. Okay, it's actually starting to stack now. Or is it? It looked like it was briefly about to start stacking. Very strange. I can manually start stacking that way. Connect to Seestars? To the all-sky camera? Or what? Okay. So it's finally recording, so we'll get to see that. Well, at least we didn't miss anything with IC 342. So this is the hidden galaxy, so we'll see how well that works. Yeah, one of the things that I started thinking about with the yeah, that was the all sky camera software that I run. Like this oops, wrong window. This software was what I was looking at the release notes for, and it's using a it supports ZWO Astro cameras, but I think that's all it supports. I mean, plus Raspberry Pi cameras and some others, but there's no other, like, it has to be a camera that's directly connected to the Raspberry Pi. My horrible, I mean, I don't know why this building is so lit up. And I see some bright sky here, and that's the moon coming up, unfortunately. But luckily later in the week will be better conditions. But yeah, so one thing about the remote telescope that I'm, or the ability to drive remote telescopes that I'm really looking forward to. Yeah, no drones, not here. I haven't heard of any in Texas. Not to say that there haven't been, but yeah, may not be a good thing. People might try to shoot them down or something. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, I like that idea. I like that idea. At one point, it was I think it was a rental, just like if it was unoccupied, just, you know, when nobody's there, just repaint it, the back of it. I like that. That would be impressive. It would definitely solve a lot of the glare issue. But the yeah, one thing I'm looking forward to with the remote scope is to be able to, you know, remotely control a telescope that isn't here. Like if somebody volunteers or if I can talk some people into it, to taking one of mine. I think the what made me think about it even more is a couple of videos that I've been seeing. Seestar on a drone. Now, see, that's yeah. If a drone came by, it's like, could you please take this telescope somewhere darker? Yeah, I like that. I was looking at a couple of videos recently. One of them was was, no, not this one. It was this video actually, by Bray Falls, who has the Starfront Observatory, the remote observatory. And what he did is he went to, I think Abilene or something, and took some photos he took a photo of Orion, I think, the Orion Nebula, and I forget what else. And then he drove back to the Starfront Observatory. But it was more like a comparison between Bortle, like similar amount of data going between this was like with an SLR. I think it was, I don't know if it was maybe an Astro modified SLR, and it was in Abilene, I think, or Amarillo, which isn't a huge city, but it also was like with the moon and like at a park. And then he took the same kind of without the moon at a dark sky. And I guess watching this video started making me that was, I guess, yeah, that was after he processed, this was after he processed it. But then like the one he took in a dark sky, he was able to get Barnard's loop and stuff, and it's just like, yeah, it was like there's some where he's kind of flipping back and forth between the two. Oh yeah, and the Pleiades, that was the other one. But yeah, that was an interesting video, and it started making me think about like, yeah, I need to figure out a way to fly my Seestar to a darker sky. Yeah. But anyway. Yep. Because it was just, yeah, painful. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. I like that instead of well, because I was talking about doing a trash can observatory for the Seestar, like one of the little what is it, small dome trash can, like one of these kind of things, you know. Oh, that's a weird one. $241 recycling bin. Nope. I was looking at like some cheap plastic thing, and but a dumpster, like that would be like kind of like yeah, just have some mechanism to throw the lid open, and then you have your observatory there, your array of telescopes. That would be interesting. Yeah, that's true. Starlink and solar power, and you'd be gold. Like it would be golden. It could just drop it out. Could just drop it out somewhere in the middle of the desert somewhere out in New Mexico. I wonder how long it would take before someone would find it. That would be interesting, especially if you found an area that was. And I don't condone this. I'm not suggesting anybody try to do that. See if they can just drop some equipment in the middle of nowhere and remotely control it. That would be funny though. Kind of was it not pirate radio, but pirate astronomy? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it depends on the curse. Exactly. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have any magical charms or curses or anything, unfortunately. Maybe go to the, yeah. But yeah, that would be funny. Drop it off like out in the middle of nowhere, but it's like a ranch, and some rancher just like opens it up and like throws some cans in there or something. Yeah, I got this dude. Yeah, having a curse, that would be good. But I mean, because there are some areas out there in New Mexico that are very sparsely populated. But yeah. Yeah, a few years back. No, I was just thinking. I just what was it? A year? No, actually, it's coming up on 2 years almost. I went out to the VLA, the Very Large Array out in near Socorro, New Mexico, and I also went to Trinity Site because they open that up for tours like a couple of times a year, and it was something I kind of wanted to go to. And there's like radiation signs all over the place. It's kind of fun. um, oh right, right, Idaho. Yeah, Portal 2. That's nice. Yeah, Seestar traveled by a bison. Yeah, that would be. I don't think that's covered under warranty. It's like you send it back. It's like this has hoof marks on it. So I don't know how it happened. I don't know. I don't know where. It's like I just left it out and showed up in the morning and it was a little damaged. um, yeah, that would be fun. Yeah, yeah. That area and that area in New Mexico, I think it is Portal 1 or 2. I mean, there's some areas that are technically. It was. This is where I am. Sorry for blinding everybody. But Socorro. Didn't spell that right, did I? Socorro? I thought it was spelled that way. No, guess not. But I can get there quickly enough. So yeah, over here, there's Socorro. And the VLA is, yeah, so this is fun. So here's the, so here's the road you take out of, is that right? Yeah, out of Socorro. And there's like Magdalena or something here. I think that's what this light is here. And on some maps, you'll actually see the VLA. I think it's somewhere over here. Yeah, I think it's by this road here. So technically this is, yeah, Portal 1. It's, yeah, very remote. But the fun thing is, if you look at Trinity Site, it's in the middle of like White Sands Missile Range, and I think it's where this light is. I think that's where the kind of one of the bases out there. That might be where the base is. But yeah, you drive on this road, and then there's a little road that comes down, and it's like very remote. And because it is out on a missile test range, they say, don't go off the road because there might be unexploded ordnance off to the side of the road, which is exciting. Yeah, but Seestar. Yeah, what was it in Lubbock? Lubbock, they have like a bunch of prairie dogs. They have a prairie dog town at this one park. Oh yeah, Nagal, New Mexico. Yeah, and hello, Adventures with Ginger. Thanks for joining. Yeah, where is that? Yeah, that yeah, hello. How's it going? Let me see where that is. Nagal, New Mexico. Yeah, like I say, it was about 2 years ago. I was out and it was mostly because I wanted to. It was interesting because it was the same day they had a VLA open house that they had open house at Trinity Site. So that was what was it? Right. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. So, okay, here. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. So, yeah. Oh, you really were close. Like that's the highway I was on. Yeah, 'cause like you were on that same highway to get there. You would have probably driven on that road, whatever highway this is. I think it's a U.S. highway. It's a very interesting area. Yeah. Well, it doesn't need Bortle 1. It's just it's in this kind of natural um val kind of like it's on this plain and there's mountains all around it, and it's a good location from a radio point of view because it's like there's nothing nearby, and so they don't need it for the light, but it helps with the radio thing, and it's like a national quiet zone or something. Not quite like the one in is it Virginia, but like when you come up to it, they have signs saying please turn off your cell phones and like everything else you have that might have a radio in it. But it's pretty yeah, it's pretty neat. Oh wow. Yeah. That sounds like that definitely sounds like a story. Yeah, less interference out there, but it's very otherworldly out there. It's and I remember many years ago, I was with my parents, and we were going down like this gravel road out in New Mexico, far. I don't even know where we were. Like we'd come in from from the panhandle of Texas, and we ended up going down this gravel road for like 100 miles, which was fun. But we didn't see another car for like over 30 or 40 minutes. Maybe it was like over an hour. Nothing, nobody. And it was during the day, but we did get to see a couple of fighter jets doing kind of it looked like they were doing some kind of dogfighting kind of war game thing, because they were going very fast, and they were very low. Some of the lowest I've seen. Like they were flying just over the mesa tops, it seemed like. And then they both, like, one shot up into the sky and the other was right behind it. It was very impressive. And they sounded like they had afterburners on too, because it was the whole sky was just like shaking. I mean, just like the noise was impressive. But that was it's a neat area. Yeah. El Paso is cool. Yeah, I've been through El Paso quite a few times in the last few years. And I hadn't actually spent that much time in El Paso in the past, but I've like I was going out west and ended up going through El Paso, coming and going. And I was like, yeah, it's like they have that park. They have a park, Franklin Mountains Park, that I've wanted to go into. Looks pretty interesting. Like it blooms a lot in the spring. Kind of desert blooming. And what was it I had seen? They reintroduced was it bighorn sheep or something? They'd introduced some kind of some kind of species like that they'd reintroduced into the park just recently, because it was having problems with invasive antelope or something somewhere else in the state, so they relocated them there. So yeah, El Paso's kind of neat. Okay, so the one on the right finished. That one didn't really show much, though. This northern Triffid was kind of I wasn't sure how well it would work out, but it kind of unfortunate. It was hoping for more, but what can you do? Actually, let me go look down here, see if there's anything here. Nope. So let's go back. What's that? What's NGC 16? Sometimes I see these galaxies and I zoom in because I'm like, you zoom in at a certain level and then it'll kind of render it in Stellarium, and it's like, oh, that's actually big enough to image with a Seestar, but then other times it just ends up being a speck. So, one thing I will try to get to tonight that I didn't end up imaging last time, or recently, that I keep saying I want to image the jellyfish nebula, and I want to do a mosaic of it because I think that would be cool. Just worried about the light pollution. I mean the moon light pollution. Although it'll be fine. I think I've done it before. So this isn't this is it the hidden galaxy? It's pretty hidden. It's I'm not even sure where it is in here. Maybe with, is that? It's hard to tell what's noise and what's actually something. Oh wow. Yeah. Ubers and Las Cruces. Yeah, that's kind of, yeah. That's, oh, I didn't actually know you live in Amarillo. One of the, yeah, I've been through there a few times over the years. My nephew was at Texas Tech, and so went up to Lubbock and kind of drove around in that area a lot. And every time I go through Amarillo, I have to go by the it was a Cadillac Ranch there, but that's maybe. Oh, okay. Yeah. No. Yeah. Maybe I did know that. I don't know. My brain. I feel like my brain's turned to mush recently. Yeah. That. Oh, okay. So, well, then I don't feel so bad. Your skies are much darker, so I don't feel bad that IC 342 doesn't look much better for you. So that's good. I mean, not good, but good that I'm not. Yeah, the Cadillac Ranch. Yeah. I don't know. And there was some barbecue place we stopped at. I forget where it was. It was in Amarillo. It was really good. Or at least I really liked it. Yeah. 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 Well, unfortunately, for me personally, to the west, I can't really image because of buildings. So I am going to, yeah. Was it the Big Texan? The Big Texan. I think that was it. Big Texan. Oops, I went to the wrong place. Yeah. I think that, yeah. That was the place. The Big Texan. Yeah. I remember that. With the giant cow out front and the very yellow building. It was good. I enjoyed it. I liked it there. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know, we're not, we had, I guess we had run across it and we were like, we should check it out. It ended up being a lot different than I expected. Cause I've been to a lot of, kind of barbecue places and other stuff, but that one was definitely more colorful, interesting. It was good. but it was definitely yeah, I liked it. I'd go back to that place. Yeah, it's like you kind of have to squint to see it, but it was, what was it called, the hidden galaxy, so not completely surprised. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, usually galaxies, I don't usually have the filter on, but maybe I should try it. Yeah, the big Texan. Yeah, it's good. I need to check it out. So for those who are watching, if you're ever in Amarillo, definitely should stop there. And Amarillo's on, what is it? Is it I-30? I-30? I'm sorry. Let's see. I-40. Because I'm like, yeah, I-40. Yeah. I know we're on I-10. That's about the extent of it. And I know there's an I-20 that I-40. Yeah, because there's been times where I've actually, because I like going to the Grand Canyon. And so there's times where we've left Houston and kind of gone up to I-40, picked it up probably at Amarillo, and then just headed west through Albuquerque and Flagstaff, and then went up to the Grand Canyon. Like sometimes we were going out to LA or something, and the big western road trip. And because like usually we do I-10, but I didn't necessarily want to take the same route coming and going. So like one way we'd go I-10, and then the other way we'd go I-40, and then go to the Grand Canyon, either coming or going. Kind of mix it up, you know. If you're going to drive that far, I figured why not? What's a few hundred more miles when you're already driving like 3,000 miles, or whatever it was. Okay. Yeah, I mean, since I haven't actually, you know, so should I do that now? Maybe I will. Yeah, I-40. Yeah, I should. I mean, I've been through that area. It's been I think it's been about a year since I've gone out that direction. Has it been a year? Yeah, it was like, maybe it was, yeah, it was, I think it was last fall. Last year I ended up driving out that way. Well, the previous 2 years I ended up going out that way. Like once I ended up driving up to, believe it or not, Oregon from here. That was a long drive. That was a very long drive. And I didn't do kind of like diagonally through the country. I went to LA and then up the coast. So it was, I forget how many miles. I think I remember I ended up driving, it wasn't 10,000 miles in like 2 months. I forget. It was something silly. I was like, man, I need to not drive for like a few weeks because I need to recover from all this driving. It wasn't all in one trip. I mean, from here to Oregon was one trip, but then there was a couple of other not quite as distant driving trips. But so what I was thinking of doing here is, let me release control here. Sorry, all this thinking about barbecues making me hungry. But that's okay. Okay, so what we're gonna do here, let's switch over. Go over here and bring up the Seestar app. And okay, so it's pointing at what it had been pointing at. So let's go to, and maybe I'll go ahead and do the, since the moon's starting to interfere, now might be a good time to try M45 and do that test I was talking about with mosaic versus non-mosaic, or mosaic, native mosaic versus equatorial, and see the difference. And this I will do without light pollution filter. Actually, yeah, the moon, according to Stellarium, might actually be starting to poke above the building. Actually, you can see it in the all-sky camera. Well, you can't see the moon exactly, but you can see the bright light in the lower left. That is, yeah, so this will be a good torture test here. Okay, so I'm just looking at the framing of M45 in equatorial mode. So it's actually so let's change the framing. It's actually kind of rotated like, oops, it's rotated like about this far is the framing for equatorial mode. And that should get some of the good nebulosity of around Merope, Maya. So we'll go with that. And I'm not going to increase the size of it. I'm just going to rotate it. And did it say, what did it say here? It'll take 0.4 hours allegedly. And yeah, so let's do that. And then after it starts imaging, I will switch over and I'll actually start the other one, pointing at the same thing. So it's identifying, and it should be starting any moment. Well, not starting, but should go to a live view, and then I can start recording. I might trigger an autofocus first, though. Oh, that looks good. Actually, it did pick the light pollution filter, so that's fine. We'll do the same thing then. And then it's getting there. And then it kind of goes too far the other direction, then it realizes it and kind of goes back. All right. So it has the light pollution filter, so I guess I'll just leave that because it chose that setting, I think. Wait, maybe it didn't. I'll shut it off. We'll really kind of max this out with the moon's gradient, or with the moon up. So I will start that. And after, I'll wait for it to get a couple of frames, and then it'll show the framing. So this is just like a single image, but once it starts stacking, you'll see the, I think it's after the first one. Maybe it's the first one shows up or the second one. Okay. It's getting there. Cool. All right. So let's go back out of here. Advanced. guest mode, release control, and now I can go back. Now I can go back to here, and we're back, and oh, hey. Okay. I'll take a look at that in a sec. So this view in Stellarium is the framing, which I was trying to reproduce in over here. So let's get control. I'm going to stop this. 34 minutes. Still don't really see the hidden galaxy. It's still hiding. So let's stop. Okay. And then we will do... we will image, and again, like before, I'm not going to increase the gain. I'm going to leave the light pollution filter off. Maybe I'll do 60 minutes because I can always stop it. No light pollution. I will trigger an autofocus because I think it might need to be autofocused. So let me see. I'm a little afraid of what Seiko's suggesting that I get. Let's see in Discord. This yeah. Maybe that'll be a Christmas maybe that'll be like, maybe that'll be the New Year's. If I do a live stream around New Year's, maybe that's what I'll do. I'll wear the horse head. Although it's probably warm. Yeah. Hello, Aaron. We are actually imaging the Pleiades, but what I'm doing is I'm imaging it with an equatorial mode, a Seestar in equatorial mode, and a Seestar using the native mosaic functionality. And I didn't do the mosaic to expand the image, but I changed the framing to be the same as the as it would be in equatorial mode. And the idea being is I want to see how different the Seestar is, how different the mosaic functionality is as far as dealing with my terrible light pollution and gradients, and how the noise looks compared to doing equatorial mode, where it's just getting a series of images over and over again at the same point, versus it building up the image like the mosaic mode does. And why is it still autofocusing? 17 minutes on hidden. Yeah, I mean, it was pretty well hidden. So hidden I can't see it. Okay. So is equatorial actually running? Not sure that this is actually... Let's go look at stats. That's something's unhappy on the left. So I just restarted it. I have a lot of local changes from the remote work that I've been working on. I need to clear this off. Live. Let's see if it's actually... should be. All right. Okay. 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 We're back. Did I get the framing? I got the framing a little off. And that might be a function of the equatorial mode, but there's at least enough overlap. Like with this star and this star and this one, we'll be able to at least evaluate it somewhat. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, unfortunately, or for better or worse, I should say, watching this video has kind of made me really want to do more dark sky imaging. Just need to figure out how. Yeah. Anywho, yeah. So we'll wait for that to. I want to change. Look at the all sky. This is the moon actually going to be? Not quite. It hasn't quite entered the frame yet, but you can already see the flare. So yeah, that doesn't. So this will be an interesting test as far as especially like the AltAz one has a second issue. It or a second, what do you call it? Thing that it has a problem, or one thing that the equatorial has, I should say. Let me phrase it the other way. I was trying to think of some clever word, but I couldn't. Is in equatorial mode, it has I have a dew shield on here, which should help with some of the kind of light pollution or some of the moon glare hitting the lens. But this one won't have that, so it'll be interesting to see how it deals with that. So far this has 21 frames. This has 25, so it's close. I do see more nebula. Maybe more nebulosity. But again, it's not like it's radically better or worse so far. So I've been kind of doing it in what do you call it, in fits and starts about it. I haven't gotten fully through it. I guess basically the problem is I get distracted by what's going on and then I kind of lose my train of thought. But the gist of it is I've gone through a few different evolutions and I've kind of landed back on the second approach that I had thought of, which is basically the Alp API talks to another Alp API to be able to control a remote Seestar instead of either the Webb front end just dealing with it or having Alp, the API, remotely connect to a Seestar over the internet. And the reason I had stopped that approach was I thought it would take too much effort to code up, because I had started looking at it and I'm like, oh, this is going to be a pain. But I guess after thinking about it more and actually talking to you, Seiko, and Stephen Falk, I started rethinking my third approach, and I ended up going back to the second approach. Anyway, long story short, I ended up coding up most of it on a few nights ago. And is this it? Yeah, this is like a big mess. But I had started going through this. Oops, wrong window. And the main reason I wanted to do API to API, or the other approach of having the API just talk to a remote telescope, is I wanted to support federation. So that's where you can go in and instead of the telescope, pick the federation, and then like you can do a mosaic, schedule it over multiple telescopes. I wanted to make sure that wasn't broken with remote. Anyway, so the other issue was if I directly connect to a remote scope, it's a lot more bandwidth intensive if you're if you're previewing the images. And so anyway, long story short, I went back, rethought my approach, and actually coded up most all of it. Basically, I wrote a little simple wrapper that just kind of delegates and calls out to the remote API, and it turned out to be perhaps more straightforward than I initially thought it would be. And I had originally, when it looked like it was going to be a complete bust tonight as far as weather, I was thinking I would test it out tonight, but I rethought that and said, no, I'm going to do some of these tests and do some imaging, take advantage of the fact it's actually clear, and then maybe I'll test it out between now and the next live stream. Yeah, at least that's my current plan. But yeah, if assuming that works with, yeah, so there is some code that's necessary on the remote Alp, but I think I already checked that in. Otherwise it doesn't. No, there's no new code needed for the remote, because basically all the local Alp is doing, if you do programming, basically I created an abstract, like there's a structure where it's like it defines a telescope, and I created an abstract telescope, and then one of the implementations is a remote telescope, and it has the same methods. It just calls out to the remote one, and it just uses the public interface. Now there are a couple of methods that aren't exposed in the API that I may have to have someone, either I'm going to add it or I'm going to ask someone else to add it. Like someone who messes around with some of the Alp code more. But the idea, initially, I don't think there's any new code for the remote Alps, or very little. Yeah, well, first I want to test out, I want to test it out locally, because it might, I don't want to try to troubleshoot it with a remote, with a high latency connection, or I don't want to be doing development with that. I want to do it more like a lab test locally first, because I haven't even tested this code yet. I literally wrote it. Like I talked to the two of you over the last few days, and it was like right afterwards I was like, I need to rethink this whole approach. And I wasn't going to do it. I was like, I'll get to it at some point. And then it was just one evening, I just decided to kind of wade into it. And I realized, oh, this actually might not be as bad as I thought it was, when I started down the path and then ended up abandoning it. So because I'm definitely eager to test out Southern Hemisphere telescope. Very eager. I think that would be amazing. Yeah, because every time I see certain targets, I was just like, oh man. And it works the other way too. I mean, like, maybe not with my scope. I know there's other reasons to test out my scope, but could be something to check out northern targets. Hello, SMA. How's it going? Thanks for joining. SMA. I was on SMA's live stream the other day. They were. It was like solar. Which one was it? Moon. It was Moon. Watching the moon. So, yeah. I'm going to take a drink of water because I realized I haven't. Now, this is interesting. So even like let's see how, let me, before I say something. Oh, see, this has a lot more data, the one on the left. Because I was going to say, like, I feel like the nebulosity is coming in a lot better on this one. On the other hand, there's also like some terrible gradients. Like look under here, like this whole gradient. Whereas here it's a lot smoother. It's a lot cleaner. Like you're not seeing some of the weird gradients on this one. You don't see them over here. Now it has noise, but no gradients. Oh, that's a bummer. Yeah, cloudy. That'll do it. Yeah, it was, ironically, it was supposed to be cloudy here, or partly cloudy at least, and it's, so far it's still holding clear. Clouds are supposed to roll in the next, between now and tomorrow, I think. And then kind of mixed weather, but then Thursday's supposed to be nice, so. But yeah, right now, it's, surprisingly was clear. But I'm not going to complain. I'm quite glad it was clear. Let's see what else. Let us see. Yeah, I want to make sure. Oh, gosh. Yeah. I may have to get to some of those later or next live stream, because if the weather ends up cooperating, I might end up having like 2 or 3 live streams going into the weekend. But one of the other things I had down was what is Hubble and Webb imaging. Sorry, excuse me. What was it? Is it Space Telescope? Is that one? Yeah. So there's this website where you can see, and this is actually another thing that could is interesting that I saw as one of the challenges, is looking at what Hubble is looking at, or finding what it's looking at and then looking at the same spot. Now, this is kind of, yeah, this is fine, but I was kind of, well, I didn't do it, but someone else did it. I'm not going to show you the exact specifics of it, but let me see. Do I need to be logged in? Nope, to that. But someone had basically come up, long story short, I may... Somebody showed me a script on getting the targets into Stellarium, and so I need to do that. Maybe it'll be next time, and we can look at what Hubble and James Webb are looking at, and if they're targets that I can actually image, we could check them out. Now, granted, they won't be as impressive, of course, but let's see, what's Webb observing now? Star. But yeah, and actually, do they observation details? It's kind of cool. Like they, I saw one. It was like they were looking at a supernova remnant, doing some analysis on it. So, next target. Oh, supernova. Of course, some of them might be too far away, especially with Webb. Never know. So I'm just kind of flipping through the different items. It shows when it starts and when it ends, how long it's going to be imaging a given target. It's kind of cool. But yeah, so that's something else that I want to kind of play around with, as it were. But first, what I want to do is get that information into Stellarium, since I always have Stellarium up, and then I can also overlay it with what I can actually see in the sky. And so it would be easier to tell, oh, it's actually pointing at something that I can see at this point. So that was a cool thing that I had brought up that telescope website before, but somebody either had mentioned it or linked it in the on the Discord server, and but adding it to Stellarium was a new thing that I hadn't seen before. But cool. So something to play, something to check out next time. Let's see what's going on here. All right. Actually, I need to check the Discord server. I always say I'll keep on top of Discord just to make sure. Yeah. But which again brings me to the natural segue. If you haven't joined the Discord server, feel free to check it out. There's a number of us there. It's a good place to chat with others and also share astronomy photos, because on YouTube it's not very conducive, like the way it handles links and stuff. Oh, high clouds. Or do I? Is it high clouds, or is it just the sun? Is it the moon glare? Oh, you're right. My bad. It is clouds. Well, it was supposed to happen at some point. And those are definitely clouds. You can see them moving. Dang it. Well, it's good. I mean, I wasn't expecting to get any uninterrupted imaging tonight. I wasn't. Like the way it was originally showing, like 10-20% clouds, which for me usually means I'm barely able to get, like I'm going to have 30% drop frame rate. The fact that I've had any imaging tonight is good. The good news is it's not supposed to be that way. It's supposed to be completely clear on Thursday, Friday. Well, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday, maybe Friday. That's still a few days away, so we'll see. I'm just seeing how quickly these are moving. That's unfortunate. And of course with the moon down here, it's just really going to light these clouds up. So, and that's weird. That's coming from Those are coming from like the west. Wasn't quite. I was expecting stuff to come from like a different direction. Now I'm checking it. Yeah, see, because I was expecting stuff to roll in at some point overnight. But then look, Saturday looks excellent. Because like even tonight, below average transparency and average seeing, but Thursday's going to be above average. So, do I catch drones? I guess I theoretically could, but there aren't any drones. I mean, I haven't seen any drones. I get plenty of satellites and planes. I wouldn't expect to see drones in this area like that. I don't know. It just seems like it wouldn't be. I mean, we're like on the final approach path to our major airport, so that could be problematic. Yeah, never seen one. Yeah. It seems like there's been a lot of the sightings. There've been sightings all in different places, and I do wonder how much of it is either people noticing. It's like in other places, I wonder how much of it's like how much of it is because they've seen the news from New Jersey. People are looking up and seeing things that were there before. Now, when there's a lot, it's like, is it because some other people are flying drones to be cute or what? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, I haven't seen any. Well, and then there's not just the flight path for the airport, but we're near a medical center, and there's a lot of air ambulance kind of helicopters coming and going. So they're coming in at pretty low altitude, so that would be bad if somebody flew a drone. Yeah, no. Or kids, yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know. And that was what I think I said this last time. Every time I see the footage, I'm like, why is it? I'm surprised no one in America doesn't have a better camera. Like, seriously. Like, surely someone out there has a better camera. Like, why is it that the people who take photos of this stuff never have, like, the right camera? So frustrating. Anyway. Oh well. Of course, if it shows up quickly and then moves on, sure, maybe you have a camera, but you didn't have it handy. But surely there's somebody who had a camera like in their backpack or something, and were able to like some low light Sony or something with a telephoto, Like, why does it always have to be like drunken cell phone coverage or like massive zoomed in, digitally zoomed in footage? That's the thing that's most shocking to me, is that nobody has taken a decent photo of it. Like, and it's over like very populated areas. Or, I mean, not necessarily very, very, but reasonably populated areas. It's not like this is out in the middle of nowhere. Oh well. Yeah, so let's see how many. 133 says half as many. But even then, I feel like this one, when it was at a lower number, still had more gradient kind of artifacts than this one does, which is kind of what I expected based on what I've seen before. Like when I've taken the mosaics and run them through Graxpert, when I do the gradient removal, a lot of times it doesn't seem to do much. It doesn't seem to need to do much. let me zoom in on this a little bit more. Yeah, so again, unfortunately, this one isn't. I need to rerun this test later in the week because the right one has a terrible. It's not leveled at all, and so that might be contributing to why it's dropping so many frames. So also it's weird because it looks softer. Yeah, I don't know, like the star images. But maybe that's a side effect of the processing. But yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would yeah, I don't get that. Again, I would with like sure, not everybody has a camera or the right electronics, but there are people who should be able to, I would think. No, that's annoying. Yeah. Here here it's I mean, yeah. It's funny cuz living here where I live, where we don't typically, at least in Houston, I don't feel like we really have a wet or dry season. It was kind of a weird concept to me. I think it was when I first went out to California that I really kind of realized that was that there were places. I mean, I've known about places in the world like that, but I guess I wasn't familiar with them. But yeah, here it's hit or miss any time of year, and it's usually always kind of, yeah, like there's a seasonality. This time of year we tend to get fronts, which do tend to clear the air for a few days, which is kind of what you've kind of maybe seen with some of my live streams where I'll have I can do like a bunch of live streams in a row and then it'll be like half a week or a week. It's because it reverts to being cloudy or partly cloudy or whatever, or rain. And then after a front comes through, it clears all that out. And then we have a few days of clear weather. In the summer, it's hit or miss. Like 2 years, we had a lot more rain this year. Like we had that hurricane, but last year, no, the year before, I should say. No, last year we had a drought. Was it last year? I think it was last year, we had a drought, and that would have been if I would have had the Seestar then, that would have been great. Cause like we had, granted the seeing probably wasn't great, but we had like no rain for like 2 or 3 months and it was like no clouds. So would have been great, but didn't have the Seestar. Oh, you can see you were able to see well, that's good. Yeah. Yeah, it should show up. Again, I don't know why more people haven't. Again, why is it just bad cell phone images mostly? It's frustrating. Very frustrating. Yeah. Yeah, it's really hard to make any big conclusions, especially given that this has gotten a lot more data, more than twice as much. But I do want to do more testing of this, especially if I can get it to not drop as many frames in alt-azimuth mode, to just really do more of a apples to apples comparison, similar amount of data, 2 different methods, same equipment, essentially set up different ways. Yeah, I know. Nobody ever has a good camera. Convenient. Yeah, I don't know. It's just, yeah. It's always frustrating. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's like, yeah. I mean, I used to pre-digital camera, I'd even, when I didn't have my SLRs with me, I'd carry around, like, I had an Olympus camera, like a little point and shoot, but it had an optical zoom. I'd always have it with me, so I could always take, I mean, I couldn't zoom in as much, but I'd always have something with me I could take a photo with that wasn't like total junk. But, oh well. How long has this been going? 36 minutes. I think I set this one for a full hour, just in case. But, I mean, the gradients are terrible on this one, but getting a lot of nice nebulosity. But again, it's hard to draw a conclusion when it's got, the one on the right has half as much data. Yeah. But that's not the, I'm blaming that on my bad leveling job on the right one. So, yep. I'm just going to go quick look at the cloud situation. Not too bad. So far it's been kind of okay, but the moon's going to be a problem. Like you can already see it's lighting up the side of the telescope. Yeah. Tomorrow, or what do you, not tomorrow, Thursday will be a good day. Thursday should be a good day. Yeah, it's interesting because it builds up the image, the mosaic as it kind of, as it goes. So the corners are always noisier, but then this has some bad like gradients at the edge. So that's not exactly better in some ways. So, but on the whole, definitely a lot more nebulosity visible on the left. But again, it's not nearly as much data as, or a lot more data than on the right. So, yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, tonight yeah, I don't know. I may not go. Initially, I was thinking maybe I'd go later, but yeah, with the moon now just kind of blasting, like it's basically almost full. I'll probably stop within this hour. Call it a night since Thursday will be better. It'll be better weather and then, or better skies. Theoretically, no clouds and no moon, or the moon won't rise until a little later. Kind of curious, when does the moon rise on? Actually, I can just look that up. Yeah, let's see. Today the moon rose at 6:46, so about an hour and a half after sunset. But on what day is it going to be? So the 19th, Thursday, doesn't rise till 10. So it would just now be rising. And then by Saturday, it won't rise until midnight. So that'll be good. So going into the weekend with, won't, yeah. So that'll be good. That'll be it'll be more out of the way. Yeah, so Christmas is next week. So I'll do live stream I mean, like I say, I'm not going anywhere, so I'll do live streams like um this weekend, probably, like I say, Thursday, 2 or 3 days between Thursday and Sunday. And actually, I could do a later live stream on Sunday if the weather cooperates, like if the conditions are good. Let's see what it says for Sunday. Like if Sunday ends up really good, I actually could do a later live stream because I'm not going back. I'm not going to work, or I'm off the next week. So yeah. Because I a lot of times I'm like, Sunday, don't want to do a particularly late one because I have to go to bed at a sane hour, but don't have to. So yeah, might get 2 or 3 live streams, and then next week it'll just depend on conditions and stuff. So we'll play it by ear. But it will give me some time to do all these things that I always mention every live stream, but I never get around to because I'm too busy during the week, or I'm live streaming. And I can't be, well, I guess I could build a desk during a live stream, but I'm not sure how many people would tune into that. Might not be the most exciting thing. I don't know. So let me have some water. Yeah, what else? What else did I still need to, I was going to talk about that class action lawsuit, but I need to, maybe that'll be next time. One thing, when you look at it, they, do I have it up here or do I? Yeah. One thing I had noted, well, I hadn't noticed it, someone pointed it out to me, that this is the press release for the class action lawsuit. Who's included if you purchased between 2005 and 2023 from a distributor, indirect purchaser states included those states. So it sounded like people in certain states wouldn't be eligible. Yeah. So its settlement includes people in the indirect purchaser states. Indirect purchaser states include this list. Texas isn't on that list, so not doesn't include it doesn't include me. But it includes a ton of others. I mean, a bunch of other states: Arizona, Arkansas, California, Connecticut, D.C., Florida, Hawaii, Illinois, Iowa, Kansas, Maine, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, North Dakota, Oregon, Rhode Island, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Utah, Vermont, West Virginia, and Wisconsin. But there are, yeah. Yeah, so there's still like over a dozen states missing, or that aren't on that list. Texas being the biggest one not on the list. But yeah, plenty of others not on the list too. But anyway, yeah, majority of U.S. states are on the list. But yeah, I want to go over this at some point. But that was something somebody pointed out on Discord, on the Discord server, that it's like, oh, doesn't include Texas. Oh well. Anyway. Yeah, I mean, class action lawsuits are interesting. They, I mean, it's, yeah, the law firms. I mean, they're complicated cases, a lot of them, and the law firms end up getting a. It's interesting if you look at the kind of the payout numbers for the different participants. And they'll be, I know I've seen some where like different class members get more or less money, depending on like what kind of case it was. Of course, the yeah. Anyway, that is actually a very, very good point. That is a good point. Let's see what it says. If it goes in, settlement includes all persons or entities. Oh, wait. Purchased who? Purchase one from a distributor or from any and that huh. Of course, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what because I got the email about the class action, and I wasn't. I mean, sometimes I don't know how accurate those are, but like, were they sure I bought a telescope? And then the other question is, well, no, I did I get that email from Amazon? I don't remember buying a telescope from Amazon. But between 2005 and 2023, maybe I did. Oh. Oh, okay. Telescopes refers to any blah, 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 does not include other instruments such as binoculars, sighting scopes, microscopes, etc. Typically, such telescopes were branded as Celestron, Orion, Skywatcher, Zoomel, or Meade. I'm trying to think of what I would have bought if I would have bought a telescope. Might have. I'll have to look through that. But even then, I don't know. Because, like, you buy things from Amazon, but then they also have third-party sellers. So if I bought it from a third-party seller, I don't know. Yeah, I need to look into this some more. And see if even if I was eligible from a geographic point of view, did I even buy a telescope? Surely I did. Just trying to think. Because I have like newer new-ish scopes, and then I have some oldish scopes, and I'm just trying to remember. Yeah. But that is a good point. Does it apply if you're if you're buying it from an entity that is in the state that was on that list? It's very interesting. Quite the yeah. What else? Let's see. I don't know that I've fully delivered on the promise of the smorgasbord. That's what I'm trying to figure out. But I did say we may cover. Yeah. well, and I did say some more experiments with the noise reduction. Did do a little bit of that. Also more about the mosaic. I made a note here about dark comets. Someone had mentioned that last live stream about kind of recent discoveries about dark comets, which are things that look like asteroids, but they behave like comets. And what I thought was interesting is there was this video from just today. Was it today or yesterday? About dark comets. And it was like someone was talking about it in the live stream longer ago than that. We're ahead of the trail, ahead of the curve there on that. Yeah, I think that might be something. Maybe it's something to discuss more next time. Dark comets, because those sound kind of interesting. Am I seeing more? No, I'm not. I'm not seeing the clouds. I'm just seeing like massive, like, or maybe that is, some of it is, but a lot of it. Oh yeah, no, some of that is definitely clouds. And that is just getting totally lit up by the moon. Wow. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would have expected that, like, that they do due diligence, and that's someone out there ended up having to not write, but like someone had to do the database extract to figure out, who to send this email to. Yeah, that's true. I could point it at the moon. I might point the AltAz one at the moon. But man, look at that. Yeah, there's definitely some high clouds here. So we might be we'll do some moons imaging, but we're definitely probably on the tail end of being able to image tonight, just based on how this is looking. Yeah, it's unfortunate that this didn't, but I'll do the test again. And look at the drop frame ratio. Jeez. Wow. We'll try this again next time. Because I do want to see, I want a more fair comparison between the equatorial and alt-azimuth with mosaic. And maybe I'll get the framing a little closer. But I might, this one is going to go another 10 minutes. I might just go ahead and stop this one and point it at the moon. Because why not? "55 minutes? How's the hidden galaxy turning out?" Actually, I do have moon. Okay, so nothing is visible. And I go to. So let's see how this works. Yeah. Jupiter's a little trickier, mostly because I'm doing it through Alp, which isn't ideal, but okay. Will it be able to? Oh, wow, that's pretty good. Just pop right on the screen there. Yeah, it's turning out. Wow. That really, that's pretty good. I mean, that's the Seestar doing it, but the fact I was able to trigger it from completely within Alp, and it sent the right command, and it went right to the moon. Completely centered. Do I need to focus that? Yeah, the seeing's not perfect tonight. That's looking nice. Yeah, that would do it. One thing I do find interesting about the Seestar is I've done a lot of moon imaging over the years, and the way, I don't know if it's the saturation they have, it produces, I think, a nice, I mean, for me, it produces a nice image. I don't know if it's the saturation and contrast that they settings they have, but it's yeah, after an hour, um, and you can see some of this kind of effect is the are those clouds that you can see in the sky camera, the all sky camera. It's definitely struggling with that. Well, not struggling. It's definitely impacting the thing. I always hope for like something to happen when I'm viewing the moon like that, you know? That like something crosses the moon or something. A bird or a plane or a drone, something. But nope, never something. I was actually looking at the transits, like the moon, or the moon or sun transits of like the space station, or the space station transiting the moon or sun, just to see if there were any upcoming here or near here. And I saw a couple of candidate ones. They won't go right over my house, but if the conditions are good, I might try again that what I did that one time where I've once I imaged a transit, but I videoed it. I did a YouTube short on it, and then another time I got the idea that I should try to do this live. It ended up not working out, but I might give it another try, basically. So we'll see. But it would have to be clear, and it might be over the next few days, like next week during the holidays, just after Christmas, I think, was one that was fairly close to here. I need well, let me not interrupt this in case something interesting happens with the moon. Let me see when the next one is. And to be fair, it wasn't just the space station. I was also looking at Hubble and the Chinese space station. Wednesday, there's a sun close past 25 kilometers from here. This Friday, which will be clear, but it's like at 8 in the morning. There'll be one. Now. Wait a second. Let me recalculate this. I think it's giving me ones that are... There was one actually this morning. But not the International Space Station. Okay. Sun close pass. Let's see. Where is that? Where's that transit going to be? That actually looks like it's far away. see. Was there one? I thought I saw one after Christmas that looked promising. I see one on Christmas Day, right at noon. But it would have to be clear on Christmas Day. Actually. What? Oh, that's cool. On Christmas Day here, there will be 2 Hubble close. I mean, not that close, but there'll be 2 close passes of with the sun and the moon in the same day. Let's see. Oh, yeah. It was 9 kilometers away on Saturday the 28th, and it's at like 10 in the morning my time, or US Central. So, and that's Hubble, which is smaller, but might be worth trying a live stream. But again, that would assume it's clear. But if it is, I might attempt that. Yeah. As far as like upcoming ones, those were the only ones I saw. Yeah, I should. Well, I don't. Auto stackered isn't that Windows. My moon's the wrong way up. Oh. You got me. It took me a second when you said it was the wrong way up. Yeah. Yeah, the back side of the moon is where we never. Yeah, this because since it's tidally locked. Yeah, never see that part. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, let me pull up the correct way the moon looks. This is this is the correct way the moon looks. So, oops. I hate it when it does that. Like I drag it to another monitor and it ends up like. Yeah, it took me a second when you said it's the wrong way up, and I was like, did I like do something in software or something? I was like, no. Yeah, so here's the here's the moon the correct way. Yeah. See for me that's it's I don't want to say it's strangely unsettling, but it's I'm not used to seeing it quite like that necessarily. Yeah. Strangely unsettling. No, I'm not saying it's bad. I do like it. It's just I find it somewhat unsettling. It's like the thing that you've seen so many times, and it's just it looks it's not quite the way you're used to it. Man, is it really like it's getting dim, the moon at times? Are these clouds really that thick? Oh wow, look, it's just a big wash of high clouds now. And a lot of the stars are now kind of fading out. Well, that's a bummer. I mean, I knew. Oh, what happened with the? Did it just like? have an issue? Yeah, I mean, Seiko's in Australia. What happened to the thermal camera? Sorry, I'm just kind of wondering why it just suddenly did that. Oh. Yeah, why did it just suddenly go blue like that? That's disconcerting. Oh, it's back. I guess it was just a glitch. But yeah, look at that. Whatever kind of cloud that is pretty uniformly bad. But yet, like, clear enough where you can kind of see through it, but... Okay, check that. Yeah, lovely spring temperature. Yeah, no, it's like almost 70 degrees. It was 70 degrees earlier. Hmm. All right. Oh, you had 80. Yikes. Yeah, I mean, it was, when I said it was 70, that was like when the stream started, it was like 70. Yeah. Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah. Oh, Henderson? Yeah. I've been in Henderson. I have been in Henderson. Yeah. I've also, yeah, just like I drove up from LA to Vegas years ago. The place I really remember was like there were a couple places I remember. One of them was Needles, California, which is on Route 66. It was like, it was in the 100 there when I was there, and I was talking to a coworker, and yeah, it was very warm there, and we were there kind of later in the afternoon, towards, not quite towards sunset, but getting closer to sunset, and it was still well over 100. And I remember he was saying, yeah, like I think it had broken a record or something, and I looked it up, and it had been like the week before it had gotten up to 122 or something ridiculous. And yeah, and then the other place that I remember is, I think, Barstow, California, on the road from LA to, it's really near Death Valley, and that was, our car almost overheated out there. It was pretty bad. Definitely not a place you want to break down. Yeah. Okay. 122. Ugh. Yeah, it is pretty it's pretty bad. And yeah, I responded to you and Callus in on Discord. Yeah. It's weird, the clouds. Like, there's not much. Normally you see more structure, texture to it. Like even the cirrus, this just seems like almost like a fog. It's weird. But look at how it's how very basically you can't see any stars, even in the all-sky camera. Maybe one star. And I guess Jupiter? Is that Jupiter? So yeah, that's pretty brutal. And it's not just because of the thing, it's showing up on the live view here of the moon. I mean, it's gotten noticeably dimmer. Yeah, very, very humid. Okay, let me look at Discord. Oh, hey, getting all scientific on us here. Stephen Fox. But yeah, this is why. It's why people in the southern hemisphere see it correct. And we're... Yeah, no. Yeah, no, I don't necessarily... If you're looking for a place with much better weather than Nevada, I don't recommend Texas. It's not that it's worse, it's just definitely not what I would consider better. Yeah. It's yeah. Definitely not better. But yeah, so I like this. Nice nice simple diagram to see that yeah, because we're up here. Well, I'm not way up here. I mean, we're kind of, I mean, in Texas, it's, I mean, especially where I am, where it's not quite to the tropics, but getting there. It's not quite as, yeah, anyway. But yeah, that's interesting. So, like, this is the view I'm used to, and then, yeah. Man, look at, it's really, clouds are really thickening. But funny enough, this is still chugging on. And it's barely dropped any frames, too. It's impressive. Impressive. Of course, I'm not sure what the quality of some of these frames are going to be. Probably not. Probably some that aren't going to be keepers, let's put it that way. Yeah. Well, that's... Yeah. What else? Yeah, yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, and if you just joined the stream, if you haven't liked the video, please like. If you've been on the stream for a while, it does help a lot. And I have noticed the streams have been getting more traffic recently, so it does definitely help. Yeah, the good thing is next live stream the moon will not, the first few hours the moon will not be interfering, and the conditions should be much better, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. And next week I need to go through all my lists that I write during the live streams of things that I've said I need, and things that I've said I need to do, and do them during that next week, including the desk, the Raspberry Pi, the Windows computer, test out the remote stuff, probably before the next live stream. I'll test it out locally. Yeah. Let's see, what else? Let me make sure there isn't any. What I'll do is I'll put tabs in here in this browser to of things Yeah, so I want to go over the dark comet stuff, but maybe that'll be next time. Yeah, and I had mentioned that Damon Scotting, I think, had done a comparison video between the S30 and the S50, same target, and I had mentioned that I hadn't seen anyone else had done the similar video, and right after that live stream, Quiv the Lazy Geek did a video about the same topic, or about that very topic. So I dropped the. Did I actually paste that? I actually pasted it. Oh man, I am behind. I don't know why the chat sometimes stops. Is the EQ dropping frames? Not noticeably. 10 frames out of almost 360. It's not too bad. Michigan. Yeah. Yeah. The Michigan's, the winters can be bad. When you change the Seestar from app to Alp, if you have save all frames. Well, so that's another thing I need to work out, because right now when you from app to Alp, if you have save all frames, I'm not sure. I think it does. I believe that's a setting on the Seestar itself, and I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure when I was looking at some of my mosaics, it had failed frames in it. I'm pretty sure. Let me go look. Let me look on the computer. I mean, on the telescope. Is this actually the one? Okay. I was imaging M45 and it was dropping a lot of frames. So let's see if this is the right one. Because what I just connected through the finder to no. Oh. Interesting. Let's look at that. Oh, see, I don't think this is it. I think this is the equatorial one. Let me try this out. Yeah, it's the it's those I mean, you can kind of see on the wider view it's the clouds. That cloud haze thing is kind of washing everything out, or the moon's washing it out. And so let's go look at, I think I have to go to my, yeah, okay. Okay, which I did it on this scope. I did it on the B scope. So I need to look at the B scope, which is, I always forget the IP. I thought I did them sequentially, but then sometimes I doubt myself. Okay, the B scope is 251. B. Come on. Okay, 51. All right. Oh. Oh. I never, this is interesting. I had attached the Seestar to this Raspberry Pi I have off camera, and I never unmounted it. And I've since rebooted it, but I guess because the network server like reconnects and it was still connected. I mean, it reconnected. So, okay, M45 mosaic. Okay. Yes. Okay. Confirmed. let me show you. I wasn't 100% to be honest, but this is, I'm connected to a Raspberry Pi. I'm looking at the directory on the Seestar that did the mosaic, and you can see it has the failed frames here. And that was from today. So, so yeah, you set the setting, and even with the mosaic, it records them. $13.37. Yeah, it's pretty hideous. Pretty hideous. But yeah. What I'm really surprised somewhat is that this hasn't completely shut down. Now it's like the drop frame count's getting a little higher, but I'm surprised it didn't like totally fall apart earlier, especially with this. Oh, maybe that's why. Wow, look, like you can barely even see Jupiter. Look at that. It like, that's an interesting cloud. It's very uniform, but like the moon is getting through it, but Jupiter's barely able to get through it. Yeah, so this is finally starting to drop frames. That's impressive. Let's see. Yeah, sure. Let us see. Let me see how to do that. Yeah. No, that's let me see. All right. Uh, 2138. Okay. 2138. Light mosaic. Our cut. Start.fit. X for M45. Why didn't I get the failed? Okay. Okay. All right. Now I need to just get him off the Raspberry Pi. Give me a sec. Oh, no, never mind. Yeah, okay. Give me a sec. And 12, 16. And it was... All right, let's see if... Oh. X for M45. Oh. Case sensitive. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Here we go. All right. So that took a little bit, but I had a copy from the Seestar onto the Raspberry Pi and then copy from the Raspberry Pi onto the Mac. But so here's a successful one. Unfortunately, these are in FIT file format. Oh, wow. Yeah, methinks I see the problem. Like, for whatever reason, it's not stable. That's pretty egregious. This last one looks, well, even then you see trailing on the fainter stars, so whereas this one you don't see it. So, and these were all in the same minute, so they're sequential. Yeah. So I don't know what. Although it's interesting because if you look at this, these are 10 seconds apart, but these are 20. I wonder, could it have been doing a dither in between and it just had an issue? Maybe? I'm not sure. But that's pretty bad. That is pretty bad. Speaking of pretty bad, jeez. Is everything about to disappear? Because, like, oh wow, look at that. Look at the, it's so cloudy that the moon isn't like totally overexposed. And oh, and Jupiter is still barely there. Oh, I say barely there. It's getting even fainter. That's impressive. Well, actually, did this one finally just start? Yeah, this is just totally dropping frames now. So I'm going to stop this one. Not too bad. Got over an hour, just over an hour more data. So that's good. I'll stop that. But man, guess I'm not doing any more live observing. Wow. Yeah, there's some pretty inhospitable, yeah, there's some pretty interesting things out there that we've discovered. Stars, exoplanets, stuff like that. Very interesting. Whoa, what just happened? It just like shuddered. Weird. Well, I think I might be wrapping it up now, to be honest. I mean, later this week will be better. From an observational point of from a sky point of view, clearly things have deteriorated pretty badly here. They have, wow. Somebody turned on, oh, you know what? I think one of the dogs had to go outside and maybe one of them bumped into the tripod. Because the fact that this light is on, that indicates that I think a porch light's on. But geez, look at the moon. Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's weird. It seems, it's very strange. I mean, and that's one reason why a lot of times or some people end up greatly increasing the dither interval. But even then, I guess it works differently with mosaic. So like, I don't know how that would even pan out. Like, does it even, I mean, what does dither even mean in that mosaic mode? Because it's always moving. But if it's having a hard time settling down, like you say, yeah, because that's like quite a few frames in a row. I mean, this is 23 seconds after, 34 seconds after. It's still trailing, after half a minute or more. Like, that's just, yeah, it's weird. Oh, hey. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate that. I do appreciate that. That's one thing. Maybe I'll do that next time, but I think there's a relatively new, let's see, what is going on with my chat here? Hold on, let me the problem is my chat sometimes. Yeah. No, that's fantastic. Thank you. Thanks, Chris. Let's see, the pop-up, I do, it shows up in the chat if you're looking at the chat, but the way it shows up, the way I do the pop-ups, kind of a little weird, but thank you again, Chris. Yeah, so one thing that showed up recently on the chat, I think it was relatively recently, I don't know if it's a new feature they're rolling out, about having goals for like super chats. Like, it said, make super chat more fun with a goal. You can pick a goal of 1, 5, 10 super chats. You can choose the super chat colors that count, set a timer, show how you'll celebrate. Like the example they give, I'll host a Q&A session, but I'm always like talking, so it's greatly appreciated. Yeah, no, thank you. But yeah, anyway, yeah, so I think I know I just get a super chat and I'm like going to end the stream, but no, I think I'm going to wrap it up here. I will have, like I say, I think, assuming the forecast holds, Thursday, Saturday look good. Sunday looks good. So, of those 3 days, and between now and then, it'll probably change, but, maybe Friday will be good too. So, I won't do it all 4 days, but I'll do at least, if there's 2 good days, I'll do 2 live streams at least. I see 432. Let's see. I see 430. Oh, nice. Is that okay? Well, you were able to get something. I got nothing. I got absolutely nothing on the hidden galaxy, which is, I mean, it was living up to its name for me. Yeah, good night. Yeah, thanks for joining, Chris, and yeah, see you next time. Yeah. Yeah, it looks, but I mean, sometimes you have to do that. Like maybe you're not going for, fine art, but you just want to, like, did I actually get anything in there? And so you like crank it up and then it's like, okay, I did actually get something. It was pretty well hidden. I will give it that. It was living up to its name. But yeah, yeah, I think I'll leave it at that. Like I say, I think I'll probably go over some of these things again and I hope to actually have some more concrete details about the remote stuff that I keep. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That is, yeah, the circumpolar kind of stuff. I mean, that's one thing. Like Bode's galaxy is usually pretty close. It's close enough that at least for some people in the northern hemisphere, it's always or almost always visible. Unfortunately, because of the way the obstructions work in my backyard, a lot of times I can't see it, um, but I definitely can now. Well, not now. I can't. I can barely see the moon now, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah, it's yeah, but yeah. So like I say, I'll do a live stream. Probably cover some of the top. I'll probably revisit the remote stuff. I want to talk about the dark comets because that I find it interesting. I need to look into that class action lawsuit some more because I'm kind of curious, like what the story is on that. Like what did I also like just from a personal point of view? What did I buy and win? From Amazon specifically, since they were the ones who sent the email. But yeah, I think we'll leave it at that. Thanks everybody for joining. And like I say, keep an eye out. I'll probably have a live stream on Thursday. Next one. Yeah, thanks. And have a good evening. Yeah, catch you next time. Clear skies. Everybody clear. Hopefully better than mine. But yeah, good night. See you later.